Yo, what up, dudes? Just finished jamming out on the E36. Got most of the drivetrain pulled, got the exhaust off, drive shaft, trans cross member, and a couple of the transmission bolts, but I remembered that you need like 3 feet of extension to get the top bell housing and the starter bolts. So I'm gonna have to pick up tomorrow, run up to the auto parts store and grab a few extensions, and then we can finish jamming out in this thing, get the trans pulled out. I'll probably go ahead and replace the rear main seal while I'm at it. It looks like it might be leaking, and it really can't hurt. I have a couple extra lying around. Here's the exhaust. I'm filming with the front of my camera, which is probably not a good idea. But drive shaft is out. Everything's about ready to go. Bam. Back at it again the next day. Got this bad little unit ripped out. Looks like either the rear main seal is leaking or I don't even know, maybe the trans is leaking something. I'm gonna clean that up and try to figure that out. Let me slide underneath this hog. Here we go. Sorry for the darkness. I don't know how to turn on the flash. This thing's pretty clapped out for the most part. It's dirty down here. I'm gonna rip out all this insulation because it's completely oil soaked. It's a typical BMW. We'll go ahead and rip this clutch off, see what the disc looks like, see what the flywheel looks like, and order a new one up. Well, I'd say she's pretty spanked. Look at this hot dog. Looks like it's been spinning for a while. Someone was ripping this unit. Wow, fun. Time to do the rear main seal now. Went ahead, got the rear main seal plate out. Here's the new one with the installation tool. It's a L-ring rear main seal. I think it's like an OEM brand. I gotta clean up the mating surfaces on this, along with this gasket, and use some new RTV to seal this up against the block and the oil pan. In the last clip, I think I pulled out the trans and the clutch. You can just see how bad this thing is. But moving on, look at that, all dirty already. Moving on, I want to build the intake. Big shout out to my buddy Chase for this intake. He left it behind. And I'm going to toss it in here. So hopefully you can just go like this, kind of turn a little bit, and drop right in where that wheel well goes. Probably end up cutting this off. Maybe right here at an angle, slipping this filter over. I think it's a 3-inch. Also, big shout out to my buddy Bart. Party Bart, he hooked it up with these camber arms free of charge. They are pretty rough. Hopefully they're not seized, but we'll get them cleaned up and tossed in the back. Get that camber in check. Well, check that out. Bam, long tube intake. Who needs AFE when you got dilly fab? Look at that fitment. This snorkel's gonna be screaming. Cool, got back here. Figured I'd toss these camber arms in, but it's probably easier just to remove the differential first to get to these little bolts right there, those 18s. First off is just taking out all the axle bolts. Milwaukee power, baby. That's all it takes. Also, someone let me know if this is correct. Never really worked on an E36 before. Looks like someone put a hard line in between here and there. That doesn't really look correct to me. Rip that little bad boy out of there. Well, I just realized I don't think I unplugged this, but it came out somehow. Sweet. Not sure what ratio this is, but we'll probably just end up keeping it. Everything came out pretty smooth. Just need to remove the camber arms now. But I need to take off these rear wheels first. It's a lot different working on this compared to this. A lot of little differences. This is probably actually easier to pull the rear diff on though. It just kind of slips out past the sway bar, whereas this you have to. I just removed the sway bar because it makes it that much easier. Just got the rear camber arms, control arms torn out. Kind of a pain in the ass. These ball joints right here, bushings, whatever, are not fun to get these bolts out of, especially when it's a Michigan car. Look how much rust is built up on these. The center of the bolt is like eaten away. Anyways, I had to hammer those out. You can see these are a lot nicer. Thank you again, Bart. All right, dudes. I'm super impatient and I hate waiting around. All my friends know this. So I already tore apart the front end of the car. Like I said, I think I got the rear diff and the camber arms out in the last video. So I tore apart the front of the car and got the CNC 71 angle kit mocked up for the most part. It's not too difficult of an install, a little bit tricky. Next up, I need to trim the inner and outer tie rods 15 millimeters. That way you can shorten up the tie rod itself, because we're moving the tie rod location. So we're moving it farther inwards, so we need to shorten the tie rod. Kind of counterintuitive, but that's how it works. Right now, the inner is seized into the outer, so hopefully it doesn't. I'm gonna try working it some more with the blowtorch, but hopefully I can get it unseized and just use the parts I have. Otherwise, I might have to run around and try to find another inner and some outers. I have an inner right here from my E36, and I thought I had a bunch more, but I can't remember where I put them. So I'm gonna keep working at this and see if we can get it all torn apart, fixed up. Check it out, boys. Just got one side on for now. Kind of just wanted to show the angle. I ended up having to just heat the hell out of the tie rod with this blowtorch, get it cherry red, and it eventually freed up. And then I went ahead and sliced 15 mils off both ends. I have some clips of that as well. But the other side is still stock angle, so I can show you guys what that's like. Sorry. All right, right there is already rubbing. It's touching the body right now. So it's got a lot more in it. This is stock angle. And let me spin it the other way. Obviously you can see this wheel sticks out a little bit further. Cool, this one's hitting as well. You can hear it dragging. That's all the angle it gets stock. Pretty cool. Once I get some wheels on this thing fitted and some stretch and poked out, that way we'll actually be able to see how much angle it has. But I'm stoked with the outcome. I mean, this kit is so cheap, it's really hard to beat. Check that out. So this adds like an inch of track width per side as well. About halfway through installing the passenger side knuckle block, ended up pulling this nut off and this whole tie rod stripped, so I'm gonna have to replace that outer. But this is pretty simple. They want you to stack a washer right here because the height difference between the ball joint mount and the tie rod mount is a little bit different. They make you do this with like SLR, stuff like that as well. So I have this all bolted on, used red Loctite, and these are Nylock as well. Just want to make sure this stuff like this doesn't come loose. Once that's all done, I'll just pop this ball joint right here into this socket, use some Loctite on the nuts, and get get this thing fitted again, just like the other side. Back in the garage again today. Picked up some tie rods from my buddy Corey earlier. These are E36 outers, and obviously these will not work. You can see they're way longer. So I'm gonna need to order a new tie rod. But for the time being, I'll probably go ahead and install the rear main seal. I got it pretty cleaned up, ready to go. So we'll toss this in there, and then maybe I'll go ahead and put these camber arms on and make sure they're freed up as well. New rear main seal in. It's all good. Easy peasy as long as you use the tool that comes with it. It like goes around this area and it just makes the whole seal slide on a lot easier. Time to move on to the rear. Try to get these camber arms put in tonight. What's up, guys? I'm here at my dad's shop today. I don't have a welder at my house yet, so I drove over here. It's right down the road to use his. Just gonna be welding it today with a 110 volt Lincoln MIG. Unfortunately, I was gonna use the 220. It's a little bit easier, but we don't have a plug on this side of the building right now, so I need to wire one of those in. So got this diff pulled out, got it all brake cleaned. Gonna preheat these gears a little bit, and then we're gonna hit it with the 110, see what happens. Hopefully it holds up. All done. Look at that smoke. Probably some oil left in the bottom. Never welded with a 110 before, but it actually came out pretty decent. I was surprised. I don't know much about welding, but it probably won't break. These are my settings. Hot and lots of wire. It's good to go. Next up, actually though, I gotta fix this. So this is one of the camber arms my buddy gave me. And this is just seized completely, so I'm going to use the blowtorch and the vise and just heat the hell out of it until I can get it freed up. Just got back to my garage. Got the differential all sealed up, waiting for the RTV to set, and then I can torque it. One thing I did do was get this camber arm freed up. It was a royal pain in the ass. I had to get it cherry red and finally smack it with a wrench and a hammer. And I got it freed up. But next thing I'm going to do is put the control arms in the car and get a baseline alignment set up. So I'm going to put my phone on the measure app and go to the level, hold it up against the hub of the wheel, and see what kind of camber we can get out of it. I'm hoping for like maybe 0, 1, or 2 degrees. I don't want to go anything too much. I don't want to wear out the tires real fast. One quick tip though. I always space this inner joint right here a little farther out than the one down here, because sometimes this lock nut right here can get caught inside the subframe, and it's really hard to break it free if it's outside of the subframe. You'll see what I'm talking about when I get this thing tidied up. I'll explain it a little bit further. Finally got all the parts in to finally toss the clutch and the trans back in the car. It took like a week to get everything. My buddy Jacob Anderson hooked it up with a used flywheel. It's got some hot spots, but it shouldn't be any issue for a 180 horsepower car. I went ahead and bought a Clutch Max Stage 4. I made sure to get the sprung one. You always want to run a sprung clutch, especially in a drift car, because you're hitting the clutch a bunch. And I got the pressure plate down here as well. If you buy an eBay clutch, though, do not use the throwout bearing. It's junk. You're better off just using an OEM throwout bearing, so I'm just going to reuse the one that came in the car. Another thing, let me grab it. When you install the clutch, make sure this side of the disc is facing that side of the flywheel. So the protruded side goes in towards the bolts, towards the engine. If you put it in the other way, you're going to have a bad time. Typically, the clutch will, like what they call, cold weld itself to the input shaft of the trans, and then you basically have to cut apart your trans to get it off, or really pry on it. That's pretty much it. I'm gonna jam out and try to get this trans back in tonight. We'll see how it goes. Got the clutch in, made sure to Loctite every bolt. You always want to, especially on something that spins 7,000 RPM. It comes out nice and easy, which is good. Means it's all lined up, I think. All right, I'm gonna toss the trans in. I gotta jack up the front of the motor to do that, so the whole thing's tilted down. I'm probably not gonna film putting the trans in, because putting it in by myself is probably gonna be a pain in the ass. So I'll get back to you guys when it's all in. Got the trans bolted up in the car, got the slave hooked up. Let's check this thing out. Woo! There she is, world's smallest transmission. But nothing like bench pressing this thing up into place by myself. It's pretty tough. It didn't take too long, but it was just really heavy. Next up, drive shaft, exhaust. I killed the battery, so I got to jump start it. And then we should be able to fire it up. I felt the clutch pedal. Feels good, so I'm not too worried about it not working. Anything else I need to do? Oh, I replaced the O2 sensor. I didn't film that, but I figured I would attack it since the transmission was out of the way, and the transmission kind of blocks it, so I need to hook up the new O2 sensor. Dude, it's coming. It's coming together. Sweet. Holy crap, my face is dirty. All right, dudes, I think this concludes this episode, or this part, or part 3, 4, whatever it is. Got this car tidied up for the most part. Check it out. Got the exhaust put on it. Got the trans in, got the drive shaft in. Battery is dead because I left the key on or something, so I can't fire it up until tomorrow when I jump start it. Okay, let me think. I think I left off. I am still missing a tie rod on this side. I ordered some from Detroit Axle after I stopped by my Corey's and picked one up, and they gave me E36 tie rods. So now I just have a pile of E46 tie rods. I ordered another E36 outer, so hopefully that comes in time. I got to return those. Dude, I'm like super dirty. And then I will button up the angle kit. Took the suspension off the car. Gonna bring it over to Greg's house and do a swapperoo with him so I can get the coilovers for this. Picked up a set of wheels, 17 by 8.5 Kosei K1s, Buddy Club P1s, whatever. They're black. I hate black wheels. They're gonna be silver, gray, white, whatever. And then we can get this thing sorted, and then I can start driving it around. But we're that close for now. Feels good to have all the hard stuff done, like the trans. Now it's just bolting on suspension and, setting the ride height, the fun stuff. All right, guys. See you later.